afternoon, everyone, and thank you once again for taking the time to join us for our very first live webinar this year. The webinar focus today is on performance testing best practice. Testhouse have delivered over 200 performance testing engagements using HP's LoadRunner across various sectors and verticals, including clients such as Barclays Bank, Bank of England, EasyJet, the Met Office, just to name a few. Our guest speaker today is Richard Pascoe, which is an associate of Testhouse. Just to give you a brief background about Richard, he is a senior performance consultant with over 10 years software testing background. He is also a certified HP instructor who delivers all of our LoadRunner training for our customers. Just before I go, just to let you know, just after the presentation, we will be taking questions using your Q&A pod, which is available on your screen. Without further delay, I'll now pass you over to Richard Pascoe. Richard?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone. What I'd like to do, first of all, is to talk fairly generically about performance testing, where it fits in the project strategy, and then drill down into more detail as we go. So there'll be, as the agenda says here, a brief introduction to performance testing. Then we'll touch on the various types of performance testing and how they are executed. Also the Testhouse performance approach, which is a subject pretty dear to my heart since I set it out. And also the best practice in performance testing, specifically using LoadRunner, and then we'll field questions from you all towards the end. Hopefully we're going to take about 45 minutes of your time today, and I sincerely hope you all get something of value from this. The Testhouse collaboration with HP, Testhouse were awarded the Gold Partner status in 2008, and that gives them the ability to provide you with subsidized training on the HP test tools, which include LoadRunner. Most of the consultants are certified on most HP products, AIS and ASE. If we look at performance testing in its generic terms, performance testing is defined as the technical investigation that is done to determine or validate the speed, scalability, and or stability characteristics of the product under test. So what we're looking to do here is we are looking to raise confidence levels in the ability of any system to perform under usual business load and projected business growth. The performance-related activities, such as testing and tuning, are concerned with achieving various elements, one of these being response times, throughput, and resource utilization levels that meet the performance objectives of the application. So what we're effectively looking at here is response times, i.e. how long would a user be sitting at a web screen, and are the time lapses acceptable for the business. Let me give you a specific. If you've got somebody working on a help desk and they take a call from a customer and it takes 60 seconds, say, for those customers' details to appear on the screen, you're going to have one very irate customer before you even get to see their name, address, details, etc. So response time is a very, very important aspect. Throughput is another area that is very important. If you have a system that has lots of information being downloaded, say, through daily, or a lot of information being written to a database, you need to know that the database is capable of receiving hundreds of thousands, millions of transactions per minute, per hour, per second. And the resource utilization levels, there we're looking at is the hardware of sufficient size and quantity to cope with the system under full load. So let's look at the key types of performance testing. We would execute a performance test, and this is carried out in order to understand the behavior of an application at a given level of load. So specifically, we'll be looking at, say, the defined business load. What we would then do is to execute load testing, and so this is to verify application behavior under normal and peak load conditions. You may have people that use a website of yours at various times of the day, lunch times, evenings, early mornings. You'll have different peak load conditions which you would need to verify that your application can handle. Stress testing, this is when we look at what happens to the application and the hardware when it is pushed beyond the peak load conditions. So there we would be looking at, say, we have a user base of 4,000. What happens if we increase that to 6,000, 10,000? What happens to the application under those loads? And what happens to the hardware under those loads? Then there's capacity testing, and here we determine how many users and or transactions, excuse me, a given system will support while still meeting performance goals. So let's take our website as an example. If we're getting, say, a user response time of 2 seconds, how many users or transactions can we get onto the system while still meeting a 2-second response time? The Testhouse approach, as you can see on the slide there, basically sets out the way Testhouse would approach the performance testing from a generic perspective. A lot of effort will go into the initial planning. From the planning, you can then undertake all your preparation, your technical prep. Then will be your script execution, followed by your analysis reporting, followed by review, sign-off, and closure of the project. The performance testing activity specifically would be to identify the test environment. This is the area where all your testing will actually take place. The key issues to note there will be around the comparing the test environment to your production environment. If your production environment is of a certain scale, your testing environment would either need to be of a similar scale, so you can do like for like, or of a size that can be reasonably compared to your production size. There's little point in executing performance testing on a laptop if your production system is going to be gigabytes and rack space. Performance acceptance criteria, it's very important to understand what would constitute a successful test, be it response time, throughput time, activity. Having that information, you can then plan and design your tests. Ensure the test environment is configured correctly. You can then implement the test design, execute your tests, and analyze results, report, and retest. What I'll do is I'm going to break those down into various levels. To identify your test environments, you need to identify the physical test environment and the production environment, as well as the tools and resources available to the test team. So that is ensuring that your test team have the correct skills to use the tools involved, that the tools themselves are available and will scale to the size of the performance testing that you need to do. If you are looking to ensure you can support 4,000 users, it's not going to be a great deal of use to you if you have a performance tool that can only have nearly 200 users. Having a thorough understanding of the test environment at the outset enables more efficient test design and planning and helps you identify the testing challenges early in the project. Those challenges can take the place, as previously mentioned, a skill shortage, a tool shortage, an environment that will not perform to the size of the production environment that you will be going live on. In some situations, the process must be revisited. You may reach a stage where you're running your tests and you find that, yes, you do run out of memory, or you don't have sufficient CPU, or there's not sufficient disk storage. So you then have to redress these, your technical design changes, so you then have to come back and recheck that your test environment is still sufficient for your new upgraded performance environment.